Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Weekly Cinema, the movie podcast where we talk about something new relating to movies every week with a very uneven and unorganized schedule because we change it up and we are very spontaneous. I'm your host, Gabe Blake, here with my co-host,
McKenna Coleman.
So today we are going to be doing our little bonus episode that we do in between each regular episode of Weekly Cinema. Today I thought we were going to do a little bit of a deep dive because I stumbled across something the other day that fascinated me, and I thought it would make for a very interesting, great, and pretty thoughtful discussion on cinema and the art of cinema. And as you guys saw by the title, that is the Criterion Collection. I think it's the Criterion, right? It's either Criterion or Criterion, or however you want to say it. I'm going to say Criterion. I hope that's not too bad, not too jarring.
I
don't know. I looked it up. Most people say Criterion, so we're going to go with that. All right, so I don't know. Let's get right in. So before we do this, I'm going to just warn everyone, if you're new to the channel, I don't know anything. I know very little stuff, like base level knowledge about the Criterion Collection, and McKenna knows nothing at all. I just introduced the topic to her, and she has no knowledge on this whatsoever. So we're going to be learning together on this podcast. So we're not professionals on this matter. We're just people who are interested in film and are trying to learn something new. So join us in our discussion, our podcast discussion today, diving into the world of the Criterion Collection, because it's pretty fascinating, pretty interesting. And as always, like, subscribe, comment, share, all the usual. Follow us on Spotify and YouTube. Yeah. So, how much about movies do you know?
Honestly, I gotta say, it depends on the genre of movie, and it depends on the movie itself.
Okay.
There are some movies I can tell you multiple quotes from, I can tell you multiple scenes from, I can tell you trivia, I can tell you anything, really. But there are other movies where I'm like, I haven't seen that, I have no idea what this is, and I can't tell you much.
It's fair. When you watch movies, do you usually, for your go-to movie source, is it theaters, streaming services, like where?
I'd say streaming services.
Streaming
mostly.
Services? Yeah, nowadays, yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I go to the movies from time to time, as you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go together. But not really much anymore. We don't
Yeah, unfortunately.
much.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a family thing.
Well, there is, I guess to introduce us into this, let's first talk about something known as movie buffs. These are the people who are really, really into cinema. People who are just like, who watch movies just for the art of it, because they are interested in how movies are made, how movies are composed, how they are produced, how movies are put together. They are interested in the art of cinema, right? Versus people who are everyday moviegoers who watch a movie as a consumer, as a viewer, a reader, an enjoyer, the audience. These people are just watching a movie to enjoy the movie, right? They're here because they want to have an experience and they love it. Of course, there is no set rules. You can blur the line. I like to think that we are in between, the people who are interested, the film buffs and the movie goers. But, we are not full-blown movie buffs. We don't know a lot of these niche movies that we're about to talk about. But the movie buffs, you talk to one, right? And you think you know movies until you talk to a movie buff. And they are just like, they talk about this history of cinema and like how movies came to be over the decades, over the years. And it fascinates you how much content there really is out there and there has been over the years that you really don't know about, right? It's like, it's baffling. It really is.
I feel like that goes with any topic. As someone who
of course,
is
yeah.
very, let's say, dedicated to a sport, you don't know much about a sport, and you talk to this major league athlete or something like that,
right?
And then you don't know how much you don't know.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So I want to bring this up today because as an aspiring actress and as an aspiring filmmaker,
and writers.
And of course, writers. We of course we want to be involved in the craft, right? We are moviegoers. We're not movie buffs, but I mean we know a fair share about making movies, all right? We are award-winning filmmakers in our own ways, in our own sense.
Our short film did win an award.
Right, yeah. So we know a little bit about being behind the camera, but of course not to the full extent. But to get inspired, to get, knowledge on like the art of filmmaking and stuff, a lot of people turn to the history of movies. They turn to these movies that have been in their own right game changers. They have been groundbreaking pieces of cinema that have changed the game and have evolved film into what it is today. So I want to first talk about this topic by introducing it the way that I was introduced to it. And that is with Criterion's, I say Criterion, but I want to try and say Criterion because that's how most people say it. But Criterion Collection, they have a YouTube channel, and they have a series called Criterion Closet, and they interview a bunch of actors and actresses and filmmakers. So right here, Winona Ryder, she was one of them. And this is where I'm like, okay, this is a bigger deal than I think it is. Right here, like Maya and Ethan Hawke, Willem Dafoe, from the Bear. So like here, let's listen to this. I'll add it over in post.
I just don't know how to pronounce her name.
Yeah, me neither. But so they're letting her into the closet with a bunch of movies, right? And she's going to pick out some movies that are notable to her and stuff. All right. So
I'm Winona Ryder, and I am so lucky to be in the Criterion Closet. I basically feel like I'm at church, my church. This is like my scriptures, the scriptures I follow. Okay, let's get started. Avoir les enfants. So this is a great Louis Malle film. I think it's somewhat autobiographical. It's about a Catholic school
Ever heard of it?
No.
France,
Never heard of it, right?
in occupied France in World War II, who are hiding a few Jewish kids, and also a great example of how you could make a film about a war without actually seeing any violence.
See how
but
insightful
feeling
she
the
is about this?
emotional
Like, she talks
toll
about
of
it, like
emotional
how...
violence. Anyway,
It's
absolutely
fascinating.
beautiful. I am going to pick The Learning Tree because I absolutely love Gordon Parks. He's one of my absolute favorite
Yeah, see?
photographers.
So, like, she's really diving into, like, of course, the behind the scenes of it, right? Talk about how beautiful of a piece of work it is, a piece of art it is, because of, like, the craft and the people behind it and the messages and stuff.
Familiar with his work, do yourself a favor. You will not regret looking at his absolutely
It's like watching
stunning
somebody, it's like looking
photographs.
at somebody who's talking about, like, their favorite
This.
books and stuff, in a way.
5 films. John Cassavetes, Jenna Rollins is, I think, the greatest actress who I've ever seen. Jenna had a huge impact on me doing what I'm doing.
So that's the biggest takeaway is that these, and it's a really fun series to look at. Like pretty much like all these movies they talk about, I've never heard of. I'm sure you've never heard of, and it's like it's really interesting to see these really artistic movies. These movies that are, you know, they're not like the most unknown things of all time, right? But the mainstream media, of course, most likely people who just consume mainstream content have really never heard of it, and it's cool to see that these people that we see in mainstream content are so invested in this art of film and this art of filmmaking that they know a lot of this stuff over the years of being involved in the film industry and how much these different movies have impacted them because it's the art of film, right? So I wanted to take a look at that because it also shows you that this isn't like some really unknown thing. Like, this is something that is pretty known, and we could benefit from looking into this further because if we want to, you know, be inspired more as aspiring filmmakers, and I think it's something valuable to take away from. So let's dive into the Criterion Collection, shall we? So I guess the best way to introduce this is that there's so there's Blu-ray. No, not Blu-ray, because Blu-ray is more like a format in like DVD. So a Blu-ray and DVD are formats, but steelbooks. Do you know what steelbooks are?
You've mentioned them.
Yeah. So I have
And you've shown me photos of some of them.
Right. Yeah. So in terms of physical media, which is what we're going to be focusing on mainly today with the Criterion Collection, Steelbooks is like a company that takes movies and they re-release them in a physical format on either Blu-ray, DVD, or both, and they add a bunch of bonus features in it, a bunch of bonus content, a bunch of bonus like art and stuff maybe, and they wrap it in this, they like seal it, contain it, and sell it in this steelbook. That is their catch, right, as a company. They make a really cool steel casing for the movies, and they release it under that casing, and that's what steelbook is known for, right? That is it's like a collector's edition version of a movie. That's what Criterion is. They take movies, they re-release them, they add a bunch of bonus content in it, and they put custom art on the cover, and they have a whole series of movies that they do that for, right? But the catch with Criterion is they are very specific with what movies they release. It is a very, 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 what's the word? Prestigious, collection of movies. They only release movies that are the best of the best, that they are, like I was saying, movie buffs would love these movies. They are in their own rights masterpieces or movies that have changed the game. They are historically impactful pieces of cinema in film history. A bunch of movies like that. There was only, I think, under 2,000 movies in the Criterion Collection that they have released. That's it. Only 2,000, which is a lot, but you think about, movies that have physical formats. There's countless amounts, right? But imagine having physical releases of movies to the extent of only 2,000 of them. It's crazy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull up the Criterion Collection, all of the movies that they have released.
I
Right?
cannot take that seriously. What just
Yeah.
popped up on screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm going to go on their main website, shop the entire collection. I want you to scroll through these movies, see if you notice. So see, this is their first. So, okay, 1,711. So they have released 1,711 copies of movies. And if you scroll through, do you recognize any of these?
It's number 6, obviously.
Well, this is a 1946 version from France.
But, I mean, I still know.
But you know
what
the
either
IP,
of these
right?
is.
Yeah.
Um,
Killer, Seventh Seal, Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs I've heard of, haven't seen it.
It's interesting. So you scroll through these and you see all these different movies, names you don't recognize, and it's like these are. It's really cool to see, and it's such a cool company, that they do this.
I've heard of Oliver Twist. Again, have not seen it.
Oliver Twist, yep.
My dad has told me about the Monty Pythons.
Monty Pythons, yeah.
I haven't watched these, but I know what they are.
Right.
Some of these are interesting titles.
Right. It is. It's really fascinating. There's so many, right? But a lot of these are just movies that you have never ever heard of. The big thing about it is, of course, we are very familiar with United States movies, right? Movies from our country, because this is one of the biggest countries, if not the big. I don't know exactly, but
Italy.
yeah, the United States is one of the biggest because of Hollywood, right? We produce a lot of movies, but we are definitely by far, by a long shot, not the only country that releases movies. I think only very very few of these are from the United States.
France.
Yeah, France, Japan. I think I saw Soviet Union. Isn't that crazy?
Interesting.
Yeah, movies from there's 16 of them right here. So films from the Soviet Union all the way back in 1938. This is a collection for people who are really interested in impactful movies that are just in terms of filmmaking, right? And it's so cool. And you look at these and it's all of these are old movies, and no, I mean there are modern movies that are groundbreakers, right? A big example is WALL-E. WALL-E is a movie that was released in the Criterion Collection.
Wow.
Release number 1161. And you click on these movies, it's cool. It tells you why they released this type of movie in their collection, right? For WALL-E, it says a high watermark of digital animation. This vision of a dystopian future is packaged within a dazzling pop science fiction love story, making for an urgent fable for our troubled millennium. It's the 29th century, and humans have long since fled Earth for outer space, leaving WALL-E, the last functioning trash-compacting robot, to go about the work of cleaning up a pollution-choked planet, one piece of garbage at a time. When he meets Eve, a fellow... So, of course, then it explains the synopsis. And look, in this really cool director's approved look. So it has a custom art. It has its release date, the Criterion Collection, and then it has like the 4K digital remaster of the movie, a bunch of versions of it, audio commentaries from the filmmakers, and just like documentaries, video essays, student films based off of them, trailers. It gives you
Burn E.
Yeah, that's funny. It just gives you everything you need about that movie if you're interested in the making of that movie, and it's so cool. So like, I don't own any Criterion Collection movies. I have a big movie collection, but after learning about this, I'll definitely want to try and get some of these movies, because like if you're really interested in the art of filmmaking,
Romeo
and Juliet, yep, 1968
Italy.
version from Italy, interesting. Like there's a few of these movies I've heard of, but not all of them. It's so cool. So like they sell these. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, his version, 2022, the one on Netflix. This is a really good movie. It deserves to be on it. Yeah, it's the version. You'll have to check it out if you haven't. It's on Netflix.
No, I have
really,
not.
really good. Okay, thanks, Chrome. Very, very beautiful movie. It's all stop motion. Very well done, and it's cool, right?
Okay, go back.
Yeah.
What is that thing?
Oh yeah, you'll have to see to find out. It's pretty crazy, pretty crazy.
Just curious.
Yeah. Anatomy of a Fall, that was Oscar nominated this past year, 2023. See, and they're always adding movies. Risky Business, that's a known movie. We covered a Criterion Collection movie, a movie that is in the Criterion Collection on this channel.
Did we?
And that is The Breakfast Club.
Oh.
There is a release of The Breakfast Club in this collection.
Interesting.
Which I definitely want to get. John Hughes, it's release number 905 right here. With this exuberant, disarmingly candid film, writer-director John Hughes established himself as the bard of American youth, vividly and empathetically capturing how teenagers hang out, act up, and goof off. The Breakfast Club brings together an assortment of adolescent archetypes and watches them shed their personas and emerge into the unlikely friendship. So it's really, really cool. Like all these movies, again, that as I'm saying, just movies that are in their own rights, just revolutionary for film. And it gives you some cool stills from the movie. I'll definitely, one of these days, I want to try and buy this copy of Breakfast Club. That'll be super cool. Because again, it comes with a bunch of, even like a 1999 radio interview with Hughes himself. It's super, super neat. But yeah, that's pretty much what the Criterion Collection is. If I look through, there's a couple more that we would probably recognize. But again, not a lot. Not a lot at all. If we just select a random movie right here, The Kid with a Bike, 2011 from Belgium, right? Never ever heard of it in our life. But it explains, like right here, it's an astonishing work from the great Belgian directors, Jean-Pierre and Luc Dardenne, masters of the empathetic action film. And again, comes with a bunch of stuff that you could ever want about that movie. And that's the cool thing too. There's a bunch of movies on here, like there's Charlie Chaplin movies and stuff. There's a bunch of movies on here too that are like have never had a release like this before. And this collection gives them the chance to have a release of their own, never before seen in like this ultra HD format, right? And it's super, super cool. City Lights, Charles Chaplin, super, super neat. But it's cool. It's a really, really cool collection. They sell them at Barnes & Noble, which is interesting. So next time you go to Barnes & Noble, try and look. It's on the upstairs section where they have all the movies. They have an entire rack for Criterion Collection. That's where I first saw them, but I wasn't aware of it. Super neat. They have Marriage Story.
I know what The Princess Bride is, but I
Princess
haven't
Bride.
seen it.
Yep. But like if you see a movie...
Actually, I take that back. I've seen part of it, not the full thing.
Oh, part of it. If you see a movie in this collection, you know, like, okay, I gotta watch it because in some way it has been, influential to the film game. Marriage Story is another movie that released on Netflix, made by Noah Baumbach, somebody who I've actually seen in real life, which is pretty wild.
Yeah,
anyways,
so you've seen famous people in real life. Jealous.
But yeah, that has a release in the Criterion Collection. There's also Uncut Gems, which is another Netflix movie featuring Adam Sandler. Citizen Kane, a big movie that I need to see. You need to see it too. People are like, If
What,
you
are
ever
gonna
talk
tell
to
me, you met Adam Sandler too?
No, yeah. I met Adam Sandler, No, I'm just kidding. Only Adam Driver, Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach. That's it. That's all the people I met. And
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And what's his name? Caleb McLaughlin. But that's it. That's all the famous people I
You're
met.
done.
I'm done. I'm done now. And what's his name? The John Wick. I can't believe I'm blanking. Oh my god. Keanu Reeves. I swear to God, I met him in Hollywood. I swear that was him on his bike, but I guess we'll never know. Anyway, I digress. So let's look into the history real quick. So it was founded in 1984. So for 40 years they've been doing this, which is super, super cool. And just collecting movies and just re-releasing them. Super, super neat. So yeah, the description right here, it's an American home video distribution company that focuses on licensing, restoring, and distributing. They say important, classic, and contemporary films. It's pretty much the best way to describe it. And it's the best collection for people who are interested in filmmaking, college students, college film students, all that stuff. Those are definitely the most that you would see into this kind of stuff is film students. But, I don't know. It's cool. It's really, really cool to see. There's so much movies that
What
just...
the heck?
Yeah, oh God, trust me, that's the least of it. Right here. Yeah. There's The Fly, I heard that's good. Day of the Dead, I heard that's good. Night of the Living Dead, Frankenstein, Eraserhead, Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah. Just so neat. So neat. But, over time, over the course of this podcast, once or twice, I'll definitely love to try and explore just one of these days a really, really niche film, see what we think of it. But in the future, this is just such a cool thing that they do. And if you have a chance, I definitely look at more of those interviews with people in the Criterion Closet because it's so interesting to watch these people who are so in love with the craft and just talk about all these movies that have inspired them and that they love and they just admire.
The only thing I was thinking about the whole time while watching that video, one, how small is that closet? And two, how many movies are in there?
Yeah, right? There was a lot of movies in that closet. Yeah, right here, Criterion Closet. Watch Closet Pics.
Like, it looks so compact.
Right? It's crazy.
Like, claustrophobic almost.
I know. It's so wild. Like, it's great. Oh, and look, you can buy all the pics that the people choose. It's so funny. The Ethan Hawke and Maya Hawke one is good. It's really, really entertaining. Willem Dafoe, really entertaining, of course. Great guy. Kate Blanchett. Yeah. Super cool. Paul Giamatti. It's so awesome. Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's so cool. It's so cool to see this whole nother world of film that I could only dream of being like somewhat familiar with in some way, right? Like I don't know. I've never seen such a niche film like that. I've pretty much only seen movies exclusive to the United States. There's an occasional like movie that makes it to the mainstream from another country. There's a lot of Korean dramas or horrors that I've seen. Of course, Squid Game is a big one that has made it, but nothing that niche at all. But maybe in the future, I don't know. Maybe one of these days we'll take a look into it. But that's pretty much the Criterion Collection. What are your thoughts on it?
It's interesting.
Isn't it interesting?
It's interesting. That surprises me how much of those I don't know.
Oh yeah. Right? Yeah. It really humbles you. It does. It really does.
Even, like, how many different countries have made it in there.
Yeah, right? Yeah, there is, it spans across not only...
Not just, like, the United States. I'm talking, like, Europe.
Yeah. In Asia, and, it's insane. I mean, even, like, we saw Soviet Union. That's insane. A country that doesn't even exist anymore. They have movies from that era. And, it spans across decades as well. And it's super cool. But
it's impressive.
Yeah, one of these days we'll have to go to Barnes & Noble. We'll have to look at the Criterion Collection and just sift through the movies. When you have it in your hand, it's just a whole nother experience to actually have it in your hand. And look at some of the movies there and maybe pick one out and maybe we'll watch it. I don't know. We'll see. But it's good to know now. It's good that we explored this. It's good that we know it now, learned something new. Hopefully you guys learned something new as well. Be sure to check out the Criterion Collection's website. I'll definitely be looking more into it again in the future because it's just so cool to see where film comes from, see all these influential movies that have impacted the film history. And I don't know. It just, I love looking through and just be like, nope. Oh, I know that one. Nope. No.
That is really funny. Just like, no. Yes, no.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But, I don't know.
And at that point, there's going to be maybe like 3 or 5 yeses, and the rest are going to be no's.
Absolute no's, yeah. But,
But that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun to look at, fun to look into. But, I mean, I guess we're still going to stick to our mainstream media movies, the ones that an average
United
American
States
would
movies.
know, yeah, for the American viewers, right? But in the future, we'll definitely try to, every now and then, steer off course, maybe go into a movie from another country or a movie from a few decades ago, movie from the Criterion Collection, and learn something new, see how much film has progressed. Because when you watch an old movie, you really do start to have an appreciation for the art of it because you see how much film has actually evolved since then. But I don't know, that was cool, that was fun. So thank you guys for joining us today on our little deep dive discussion. Join us next week. It is Halloween time. It is October. So we're going to be watching a horror movie for next week's.
Maybe multiple.
Maybe multiple until the end of October, yeah.
Because I had proposed this idea. We do a countdown to Halloween with horror movies.
That'd be fun. That'd be really fun, yeah. So tune in next week for that. And, of course, like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that. Rate us on Spotify at 5 stars. Thank you guys so much for tuning in as always, and we will see you all in the next episode of Weekly Cinema. Goodbye.